So you might be wondering, what is a YAFFA block? A YAFFA block is a storage cube thing for like storing clothes or whatever else. So it has these little slots on the bottom of it where you can slot other ones into it. So I'll do a little example of that here. So you literally just take this one, and then if you line it up properly, that slots into the bottom of it. So you can stack these and have like 3 or 4 of these high in order to do, I don't know, like shirts, t-shirts, underwear, that kind of thing for just organizing your clothes. The issue is these are not made anymore. You can sometimes find them at like, you know, yard sales or online, or maybe like some Etsy store or something where they have some extra ones that they're trying to get rid of, but you can't actually like go out on Amazon and buy any more of these. So I decided to try to 3D print one. Now that I have an SV08, which for those that don't know is a relatively large 3D printer. It's a little bit bigger than like a Bamboo Lab, or definitely a lot bigger than a Ender 3. I decided that I might as well try to make a storage cube because my dad wanted another one just for storing his clothes. So here is a YAFFA block that I 3D printed in 4 separate pieces, and I need to figure out the best way to attach this. Right now I'm thinking that I might use super glue, possibly. I'd have to go out and buy it though. I might try to plastic weld it together by just taking a soldering iron and then kind of soldering all the different seams between them. That might be a solution. I also might 3D print something and then bolt it together. You can see that all of these have hexagons that are kind of inwardly chamfered, so you could have it where it grasps on to either side of it and kind of forms a joint like that. And it may be a combination of all of that, but we're gonna see what I can do to make it so you can drop this thing and it doesn't just shatter into 1,000 pieces or drop your clothes into like the one right below it. Yeah, this is my enclosure, by the way, for my Sovo SP08. I wanted to be able to print some like engineering grade materials without just toxic fumes going everywhere. So I decided to get this grow tent, and I think it's working pretty well. The only issue is the suction thing. It has a exhaust port in here that's blowing air outside. Kind of makes it really taut on the outside, like you can just see. But I think it's working pretty well. I mean, I'm not printing any like ABS or anything right now, but just in the future, if I do, I think it'll be fine. So check this out. Here is the last piece to my YAFFA block. So I'm gonna try to remove that now. And we just got this massive piece of plastic. This is probably the biggest 3D printing project that I've done so far. We're gonna take this over to the table and try to remove it from the bed and kind of go over what the next steps are gonna be there. Okay, so here is the piece on the build plate here, where we need to remove it. You can see the print quality on this is pretty good. There really isn't too much dripping or anything, like drooping. There's a little bit of stringing that may be hard to make out on camera, like right here, right here. That could just be for me not drying the filament as long as I'm supposed to. With this type of filament, you are supposed to dry it for a decent bit of time. I think it's 8 hours at 65°C. So now I'm just gonna try to remove it. What I've found is that if you don't use the little scrapey tool right here, and you just try to just literally bend the build plate on this, it is possible to mess up the bottom of it, which I could try to show you here. Yeah. So on this one, you can see that the bottom got messed up a little bit just because I removed it a little bit too violently without scraping it up first. So you do want to be careful whenever you're removing stuff from this SV08 build plate. There we go. That's free. And you can see there that the bottom is really clean. The worst overhangs are probably inside of here, which you really can't see, but there's some stringing coming down here just because it is an overhang. This goes directly across it. I'm getting everything set up. So this is a fume extractor. 3D printing fumes like this aren't like cancer, but like you probably don't want to breathe too much of them in if you can help it. I got some clamps on this, which are holding pretty okay. These are designed to hold up like a green screen. So not exactly for this purpose, but I think it'll hold it well enough for what I'm doing. And I'll just move them around as I go through it. I'm going to be using this pine seal soldering iron. This is like one of the best budget soldering irons that you can get. I have a special bit for it, which I'll show you. This bit right here, it's got like kind of a flat edge, which should be a lot better for going on and like soldering these lines together. Or that's what I've heard. I haven't actually tried this this bit yet. But before I do any of that, I'm going to start a 3D print, which is going to go right here in the middle. If you can see here, there is a groove that I designed into this. So it goes like this, kind of as a square between the two pieces to hold it together in the middle. And I'm going to try to design that inside of CAD real quick. So I'll take you over there and then we can take a look at that too. Okay, so we're on Onshape, and what I'm going to try to do is make that rectangle square type shape that's in the bottom of all the YAFFA block pieces. So I'm just going to open up my YAFFA block project here. And then you can see right there in the middle is that shape that I cut out. So what we're going to do is, I think the best way to approach this is probably to find where I cut this out. Yeah, right here. And then maybe just like make an extrude. I don't know, because I'm really interested to see how close you can get the fitment of it and just like force it in. I feel like 0.4 millimeters offset from the sides is kind of like the standard for 3D printing to make sure that it fits down there well. But if I'm trying to get it to fit tightly, then maybe I should do a little bit tighter than that. I don't know. I think I'm going to start with a 0.4, see how loose it is, print that on the Bamboo Labs, and then just kind of go from there on it. So I'm going to go into my sketch, which is sketch 16 here. And I'll label that just so I know in the future. Square cut out. Then I'm going to go into here. And I'll just hide all these objects because I don't really need them right now. Select all of this. That should be all of it. Then just do Shift E to extrude, or you can press up here. That's saying that's going to go out 25 millimeters, which is a little bit more than I need. I think that the original cut was like 11 point something or other. What we can do is just we can go instead of blind, go up to face, and just tap on this as the face. And then we have a nice little rectangle right there, which could be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, I think, if it like fit into the actual hexagons here, which would also help center it. So yeah, let's look at how to do that instead. I've messed with something like this before, like something similar, and it was like a little bit overly complicated for what it was, but I think it's definitely possible. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a new sketch, Shift S, or you push up here, and then go top view. Go to here, to here. That's going to be a line now, which I don't want. And you could just make sure that it's not, but whatever, it's fine. Got nothing but time. Or what if I do that here? So you push U to go to use points. So I can just take those points, make a line between these two, click on it, press Q to make it construction, L for line, go here, and then if I take a line from the midpoint here, which is that little box, go to the midpoint here, this point right here is the perfect point to start it. And if I do the same thing over here, I can find the perfect place to end it. You can click on multiple points at once and then click U to convert, which is so nice. That's not standard on a lot of other CAD platforms, which is pretty annoying. Then I'm gonna go over here. then this is going to be the perfect point to end it. So now we take this, and that's going to be right there in the middle of it to here. And the only issue with that is I wish I had done that as non-construction. So now it's not construction because I just went out and came back into it. So now I'm going to try to extrude this to the face that we were talking about earlier, which is right here. So now we just have a solid surface going down into that. So the question is, how do you make this into like a place that fits perfectly on it? That's pretty easy. So what you do is you Alt-C on Windows, look for Boolean, and then you're looking for intersect. No, you're looking for subtract, sorry about that. So the target is going to be this piece, this new piece that we just made. That is piece 14, right? Yeah, that's piece 14. And the tools are going to be these 4 pieces here. And you say keep tools, which is good. Now if you take a look at this, see that's connected just like that. We don't actually need this middle one, so we can get rid of that. But these other ones are now going to be exactly what we wanted. So you can see that right there. But that's going to fit down in there absolutely perfectly. And then this is the alignment tool, so I'm going to right click that, say export, that's going to be a V0 of it in STL format. You got to do STL. Then we'll see if I can get Bamboo Studio going. We'll just print this off in like, I only have PETG and some wood PLA in it right now. I'd prefer to print this off in like PLA white probably, because like I feel like that'd be a cool color contrast, but we could just do white PETG and I think that's fine. I don't know what my previous project was, but I don't think it was important. So go here. So here's my my downloads. Grab this alignment tool, drop that in, right click, auto rotate, and then Bamboo PETG HF. Standard should be fine. This isn't a crazy part or anything. And it says that will take 1 hour and 7 minutes. So do I print that off right now and wait before I do any of the plastic welding, or what do I do? See a 0.28 any faster. I bet it's like an hour, so like hour 7. Hour 2, so hour 7. I'll just do 0.2, it's fine. Extra 5 minutes doesn't matter for like slightly better quality. Alright, so that's gonna start. That's not supposed to be blue for that. I don't know why, but my AMS has been messing up a little bit. We're gonna go check what color it is though. And we'll go from there. I wanna say that white is slot 4, but we'll see. Yeah. So you can see in there, white is slot 4, green is 3, wood is 1, and then blue is slot number 2. So yeah, I think the white would be a good contrast. I kind of like the idea of this being like multiple different colors, which could be cool. Okay, so 4. So we do A4, that's gonna be white, and then we're gonna send it. Good. So hour 7 minutes, that will be done. And while we're waiting, I think I'm going to start the process of plastic welding, and we'll see how that goes. Okay. So right now I'm trying to install the new tip on the soldering iron, like I was telling you about earlier. Found a screwdriver that works for it. But yeah, this should be my first YouTube video after a pretty long break from talking about anything but Cine Solo. just got real busy with like the end of school and trying to find a job and everything else. I am graduated now and I am employed at my first real job, which is with Hydroquip. They're a hydraulics distribution company based out of Houston, Texas. So that's been keeping me very busy, especially those first couple months of just going through training and everything. Took a lot of time where couldn't really sit down and make any kind of like videos or anything like that. But, oh gosh. But now I should have a little bit more time, and I've got a pretty good setup over here now with the 3D printers in the tent like I showed you guys. So I should be able to work on some other cool projects and such. I kind of need to just like outline all the different projects that I'm working on and see what all's happening with them. But I don't know. I really need to just stop like starting projects and not continuing on with them, but oh well. I'm having a good time with it. I really like stuff like this project where it's solving a little problem. It's not like something crazy serious or like, I don't know, the whole Sydney Solo thing, and I'll probably make a video about the whole experience and everything else at some point, but it's just like you start with a really basic idea, more or less, and you want to just do something cool. And then you start looking at trying to get funding and all these other things, and it's like you can lose kind of some of the joy and like the actual purpose of what you're doing there. It's just like a whole lot of meetings, not like a whole lot of just going out and building stuff. And I would much rather just be building the project than having to handle like financials and trying to find backers and doing all these customer interviews and everything. Like obviously parts of that's super important. You want to make sure that you know exactly what the customer wants. You want to get like beta units out to people. You want to do in-person interviews to talk to people that are going to be using your product. Just like have a really good understanding of your customer base. But you can spend a lot more time on that than you should be, I think, when you could be just spending that time on actually building the thing. And yeah, I don't know. It's just really interesting. I think that there's lots of good ways to go about it and lots of bad ways to go about it, and I could have gone about some of that stuff better than I did. But I know that for next time, if I ever try to raise money for some sort of project, like a Kickstarter or whatever else in the future. So I am going to wear a mask for this. I don't know if that's necessary. I'd say probably not. And with a mask and also this going, which is very loud, you won't be able to hear me like at all. But I might insert some clips throughout the video of me doing the thingy thing, and we'll see what happens. And when the alignment thing comes in, maybe this will be way easier. We'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna try this. Let's see. That's the first one done. And I think it worked pretty well. You can see this is the two pieces put together. So this is the right side of it, and like that is on there together real good. I'll show you the seam right there. So you can see the seam kind of running down the middle of that. And I just went all the way down here, put a couple little beads right here, a couple beads on top here along the seam. And that's, I'd say that's pretty solid. I would trust this to put clothes on it for sure. Okay, that is, it's on there. Yep, no damage from hitting it. Just properly welded together there. So next step is to do the two blue pieces, I think. I think it probably makes more sense to do the two halves and then try to connect them, because that's going to be the most difficult part. You can see how on the halves here, we got the flat side. So there's a flat side to weld the two between. But on the middle there, we only have these little pegs to attach to. There's no solid cross section, which, coming from me, the guy that designed it, that's a mistake. Past Boaz should have thought about that a little bit more before going through this system. But I wasn't really looking at plastic welding as much as I was looking at a 3D printed connector piece. So I should have thought about that a little bit more before going through that process. But I'm going to try to weld these two together, and then we're going to go from there, see about actually getting that printed piece done. I said that was going to take about an hour or so, and then getting that attached and see if we can get this whole project done today, which would be great. And just, it stacks really good, which is exciting. And it seems like we could definitely make some more of these if we need to. The issue with this is you can't tell, but this is pretty heavy. I mean, it's not like heavy, but this is like solid 2 kilograms of filament between this side and the other side, which, depending on how much money you're spending, could be between like 40 to higher. For me personally, I'm using Bamboo Labs PETG HF, like I said, for this project. And I would probably do it in POA if I did it again, just because it's a little bit faster, a little bit easier to tune. But that's about $26. If you buy 8 spools, it's $13 a spool. So $26-ish to get this project. And I don't know if I would say that's justified at this price. If it's not like a fun learning experience for you, then probably not. For me, I was able to like do some different stuff in CAD. I was able to learn some tools and everything else with it, where this is kind of fun for me. But if you're just, I want a storage solution, I need a cheap storage solution, I'd go on Amazon, I'd go to IKEA, I'd do something other than this. But if you specifically want a YAFFA block, this is probably one of the better ways to get it inside 2024 if you have a large format 3D printer. And even if you have a smaller one, you can always slice it up a little bit and then get it going that way. But I'm not sure how much I can suggest it. Okay, so here's how I'm going to connect these. I've got these little clamps that I use for my green screen. I have a green screen now. And I'm going to try to connect these. So last time I did 2 points. So I'm going to push the sheet of wood back. I'm using the sheet of wood because I think it's a little bit flatter than the other one. Just the bare table, I'm saying. Pull this out and then try to get it pretty level. So just running my finger across it to see where it's just about flat. Crimp that on. Let's see. Put your finger in there, get her lined up again. This one, its print quality is a little bit less than the other one. It's a little bit worse. So, not exactly as easy, but still not too bad. Then, clamp right here as well. So, running your finger over it, that's pretty dang flat all the way across it. I'm going to start at the top side here, and then start soldering on the bottom after I get this attached up, I think. I can try that instead of the other way. With this, I don't think that these might get just wide enough, actually. Try to clamp this from both sides. Yeah, there you go. So now that's clamped as well. And you can fill that with your finger, like, make sure that it's all lined up and everything. But it's pretty good. A little bit of gaps, but it's pretty solid. All right, so now I'm going to start my soldering iron. So just push the little plus button right here. You might be able to see the screen right there is counting up. You're gonna wanna make sure that that gets to, I have this as like 300 something, which is a little bit higher than you probably need, but it does work for me. I'm not sure how accurate this temperature reading is. And I'll do a little bit of it without the thing going so I can talk. I don't know how well you can hear me with all this.
So what you're doing is I'm just running it along it slowly. You figure out the speed as you go. But what you want is for there to be no visible gap in between it after you're done with it. And you can kind of bring it in from the sides because it's pushing the filament out to the sides. You don't want to go too deep or anything, but basically just trying to put down a bead where you can't really see the gap anymore after you go through it.
Okay, so the print's done. We're going to try to see if it actually fits with the tolerances and everything else that I programmed in. So here we go. Got that done with the build plate. Then just pop that off. Really good print quality. I used ludicrous mode for a little bit of this, so I'm just like really impressed. Like I'd say ludicrous mode on this printer might be better than normal mode on my SV08. And then look at that. That's pretty good fitment. I'm not sure I'd say it's perfect. Could be a little bit tighter, but that's definitely, oh, for the first print, just having the 0.4 tolerances and everything, that's pretty good. So now I'm going to try to solder all this stuff up. I have some clamps on it. I've got this alignment piece in there now, which I think should actually be pretty helpful inside of getting everything properly aligned here. And then we'll just go from there. But I think this is, we can definitely get this done today, which is great. So I got everything lined up. I just finger over the gaps and everything, make sure that it's pretty much perfectly flush. I think there's nothing left to do really but to just do it, to just like solder all this stuff together and then see what happens. So next time you see this, hopefully it's together and everything works and everything. I may need to invest in some better clamps or 3D print them or something or other, because otherwise it's a little bit, these are not the best clamps for it, but they do work well enough and I think it's gonna work fine. Okay, it's done and it does work. Right now I have it stacked, but this is the bottom piece. I'm gonna take this off, which is a little bit tight. But it does work with both the lid and with the normal crate. So you can just stack these on top of each other just like normal ones. So here it is. I have the white piece in the center that we 3D printed out. And I think that definitely did help. This thing is, it is sturdy. This is very, very sturdy. You can absolutely put clothes in here and I have no worries at all about it being able to hold clothes. Like this is, it is solid right there. I don't know what that noise was. That kind of scares me. But no, it looks good. I mean, this still, even with that noise, this looks perfectly fine. And I definitely trust it to hold clothes. Maybe don't smack it around as hard as I am. But yeah, absolutely works. A couple of notes on it. I would say if you're going to 3D print this, definitely look at the exact spacing for these top pieces right here a little bit more closely, as well as these slots on the bottom, because you can see there are slots in there for where they go in. This is very tight. It does work to stack these on top of each other, but you got to be pretty precise about it. You got to wiggle it just a little bit in order to get it in. I can't just drop this right on top of it, then have it go in straight, is what I was gonna say, but then it just went in. So I guess maybe I flexed them the first time there and now it's working. But I did have to mess with it a little bit that first time, so just something to keep in mind. The lid works a lot better. The hole spacing on that is just a little bit better. I am still having to maneuver it just a little bit there, as you can see, but I was able to get it on, so I believe that should go back on for me. Might flip it around. Yeah, you just got to make sure that everything's lined up, but it does go. So yeah, lid's on. Just have to maneuver it around just a little bit. So there it is, completely stacked, which is great. Would I 3D print another one of these? Honestly, for the 40 hours like print time, 2 kilograms of filament, maybe. I think that I would love to print one of these that's a little bit smaller in dimensions. Same kind of idea, but not 4 pieces. Maybe just maximize the build space of the SV08 and see how that looks. but I'm not sure if I'd 3D print another one of these. With that said, it does work. I think my dad's gonna like it, and all in all, pretty fun project if you get to do the design process yourself. If you're just interested in 3D printing it, you have an SV08 or you're willing to slice the files up, if you have like a Bamboo Labs or a smaller 3D printer, I will post that on my Maker World profile. You can download those files and use them on any printer, but it'll just be a little bit easier for Bamboo Lab stuff. And yeah, if there's any questions you have, please just leave them down in the comments below. I hope they enjoyed this. I'm going to try to come back and make a little bit more YouTube videos. Really close to 500 subs, so that'd be a big milestone for me. And just, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this has been some way educational. I just wanted to really just share this project and get something out. I haven't posted in forever, but yeah, I think it works. Thank you. One final note. This is a okay air filtration system, but like after soldering plastic molding as much as I did, it does smell a little bit in here, so maybe look at getting something a little bit stronger than this if you're using it a lot, or do it outside in a well-ventilated space, something like that if you have a garage or someplace that you have access to. I don't have a garage, and it's raining, so I did it inside, and this works okay, but I'm probably gonna run this for 30 minutes, an hour or something, and like try to get some air circulation going here, because it does smell a little bit like plastic fumes. Again, PETG is not like the worst thing for your lungs. There's much, much worse things, and this really isn't that bad. But if you just don't want it to smell at all, then try to get something like this, maybe something a little bit stronger, or just open some windows, blow some fans, that kind of thing.